Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I have some journaling to catch up on. I did my monthly reading and just have not had the time to plug it into my journal. And then I think there's also another little reading that I'm considering putting in here just to have. I'm currently reading Lessons from the Empress, a tarot workbook for self-care and creative growth by Cassandra Snow and Siri Vincent Plouffe. Sorry if I butchered your name. So I'm reading that right now, and there was a tarot reading to do kind of as an introduction for the book, the workbook, and how the Empress is going to, I don't know, manifest in your life and all of that stuff, your inner Empress. So I think I'm going to include that in here too, just because that, although it's a small 3-card reading, it just feels important to mark down so that I can have a record of that. I'm also getting dangerously close to the end of my journal. I don't think that I want to do my month ahead or my year ahead spread in this journal just because it's dwindling. So I think I need to get myself a new tarot journal, and maybe we'll do a flip through of this one when I finish this. If that's something you all are interested in, please let me know and I'll make it happen. So without further ado, let's get to journaling. Also, please excuse my nails. I completely forgot to take off my nail polish, but I'm not perfect, so I feel like my nails don't have to be either, at least in this moment. So that's all. Let's get started. I've got to print out my monthly card that I pulled at the beginning of this year, and I need to print out the Celtic cross spread. I think I'm also just going to print out the Empress reading from the book as well, because I know that's something I want to put in, so I might as well just do it right now. Okay, I have all of the readings that I want to print out. I have the year ahead. This is the monthly reading from my year ahead spread. My very last one of the year until I have to do a new one. This is the Celtic cross that I did this year, or this month, with the month card as the first one. This is the weaver that I picked for this month. This is the weaver who's going to be working with me and walking with me this month. And then here is the Empress reading from Lessons from the Empress. So I'm just going to start copying everything in. I've got my pens, all my pens. I'm going to cut this and then we'll start pasting everything in. You know what, that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. As Greg Universe said, if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. So I think it's fine if my journaling isn't perfect either. Okay. One down. I like to put these, I started doing them before on separate pages, but I kind of like to have the month ahead single card and the Celtic cross all on the same page. I just started liking that. I think it was here. I don't know. All right. Now that we've got these pasted in, I like to write them first, and then I'll go in and stick the rest. I like to leave a full page at least for my for my reflections at the end of the month, just because I do tend to have a lot to say, and I like to have my interpretations first just because I don't know how long they're going to be. Sometimes my interpretations for my Celtic cross are really long, and I still want to have that room. So if I start pasting in more readings, then I kind of limit myself with how much space I have. So let's get these two started and then we can move on to the next ones. All right, we've got my interpretation for this all written out. Now it's time to organize my Celtic cross. All right, I put everything in. I wrote all of the things. I just want to kind of walk you through where my thought process is when writing these interpretations. I did record a video at the time of this reading so that I could document my thoughts without having to pull out my journal and write them all down. And I'm going to be referencing that when writing my reflection for this, but I just wanted to walk you through kind of how I read and what I pick up on in regards to my month ahead spreads. So let's pull you right in. Let's get real up close and personal. The first thing that I like to look at is kind of the layout of how many of each suit are there, how many major arcana versus minor arcana, how many court cards are there, and are there any cards that are coming from my previous month ahead spread into this one? So the first thing that really called out to me was the amount of court cards we have and their suit. So I have 3 of the 4 court cards when it comes to the suit of water. So that's cups. And I just thought that was so interesting. So there's a lot of emotions that I'm going to be working through. And another thing that really stuck out to me is the 2 of Earth is the back of my deck, and the 2 of Earth. So the back of my deck, the way that I read that is it's the underlying energy for the month or something that is unconscious but will need to be kind of looked at or just kept in the back of my mind. So the 2 of Earth is the back of the deck for this reading, and this was the card that was my monthly card. That was the center card for last month. So it's still an energy that is present at the moment and will be present this month. And that's something to keep in mind. Another thing that I'm seeing is the 3 major arcana cards we have. And I laughed when I saw that the world is the energy that is coming in, that I'm being shown from the world, just because it's the end of the year. So, of course, it's the culmination of everything that has happened this year. Of course, it would come into the reading and be in this position. This is kind of the subconscious realm right here. And the fact that both of them are major arcana cards is pretty telling that this is going to be an important part of my month. It's also going to be a very shadow worky month, or part of my month, because the devil this year has really been a card that reminds me to do some shadow work, and it also likes to point out where my shadows are and really bring them to the forefront. So this is something that I'm going to be working on. I think that the Hierophant is going to be me having the desire to really define my spiritual practice, and that's going to be something that will be driving me this month, is really getting to the heart of what I want next year to focus on when it comes to my spirituality and everything like that. So we've got the 3 major arcanas. We have a ton of water court cards. This is the Adelita, so this is the Knight of Water. This is the Queen of Water, and then the Page of Water up here. So emotions are going to be a very important part, and it doesn't seem like these are new emotions that I am struggling to define, because the Ace of Water is at the back. So the Ace of Water is something that I have moved through and is kind of on its way out, and we're getting to this higher level of emotions and emotional workings. And then the single air card is blocking my earth. And if you know anything about kind of Thoth and the way that those readings are, it's that earth and air are kind of opposing energies, and water and fire are opposing energies. So when they're on top of each other, it's more shadowy. So I kind of took this as my thoughts and deep-rooted misconceptions about myself or my life is going to really stand in the way of me progressing on the earthly plane. And I think that is really where the shadow work is going to have a big role, is unpacking the thoughts and working through them emotionally so that I can really progress and get things moving and get things growing. The only fire card that we have this month is in the 9th position, and it's my hopes and fears, and it's the Queen of Fire, so the Queen of Wands. And I think this is very accurate at the moment. I worry sometimes that my creativity and this flow of inspiration is going to dry up, and at the same time I'm feeling this abundance of creative energy. So it's kind of grappling with that and realizing that creative energy isn't something that depletes. It's something that if you continue to pay attention and feed into that energy, it continues to grow. And I think that this is something that this card specifically is going to be talking about the book that I'm reading, the Lessons from the Empress, because that book is all about creativity and tapping into it and finding creativity in different ways and in areas that you haven't found it in the past. So I think that that is really all that I'm going to be writing about. I think I've walked you through pretty much all of my thought process. And that's kind of how I go about reading this spread for myself. And I do this every month, is I kind of look at the statistics and then see what comes from that. So I'm going to write out my interpretation, and I will see you all when I get back. All right, my Celtic Cross interpretation is all finished. Now it's just time to paste this one in. I don't have the book with me at this exact moment, so I'm not going to write anything in for this card. I'm just going to set it up like I always do. So I put her in the middle, and then I like to write her title down here, her name, and then kind of her title, and then there's usually another sentence that goes along with it in the book. And then I like to write which kind of clan she's from, and there's something else that I write on this side, I can't remember at the moment. But then I leave this page for quotes from the book that really stand out for me and what I feel like she's trying to tell me this month. So we've got that, and then I usually don't have interpretation notes when it comes to these. I think that next year I want to really dive deeper and see about meditating with these cards and these people, but I have yet to do that, so we're leaving that as is. And then let's paste in this. This is the reading from the Empress book. And then I'm just going to write a little bit about that. I actually can't see what the question is, so I've got to pull it up on my phone. I thought it was so fitting that I got the Empress for the back of the deck when doing this reading because the book is all about the Empress. So of course she would show up for me in this reading. I just thought it was so cute and fun that she did that. Okay, so I think that that's it. I am not going to record myself doing the interpretation for this reading just because it feels very personal and I'm not sure that I am comfortable sharing that. But I am up to date on my reading journal, thanks to all of you. Thank you for being with me, and if you journaled along, thank you for inviting me into your space. I had a great time. I feel like this was a very productive journaling session. I hope that seeing how I journal and the insights that I glean from my readings helps you in your readings. That's all that I have for right now. Keep an eye out for later on this month, my year ahead spread, and I'm sure there's going to be one more video. I think I'm going to do kind of a reflection on this whole year. So I think what's going to happen is the next video after this one's going to be my reflection. So I'll be reflecting on 2022 and just how my tarot and spiritual practice has evolved. And then my last video of this year, I think I will only have one more after that video. My last video will be prepping for the new year. So stick around for that. I'm happy to see you all. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope that this end of the year is going smoothly for all of you, and I hope that it really morphs into a great beginning of the year.